If you've ever been to Japan or have an interest in the country, you've probably heard about Kabukicho. Known for its big lights, crazy vibes, and for more than a little bit of shadiness, Kabukicho is one of Tokyo's most iconic neighborhoods. But while it's certainly the jewel in the crown of Japan's nightlife scene, Kabukicho is far from the only place of its kind in this country. Many cities all across Japan, big and small, have nightlife districts. When the sun goes down, their lights go on, and they serve alcohol, food, karaoke, and ambiance in distinct locales with varying degrees of seediness. While the main nightlife district in my city is well known to just about all of its inhabitants, I happened to stumble across a bar area that I had never heard about while I was out aimlessly wandering around, as I sometimes do. This was an area I had passed by literally hundreds of times, but its streets were perfectly tucked away and out of sight from most passers-by. And there was one other thing, another reason why I'd failed to notice or hear about this micro-Kabukicho in my backyard for years. If you've watched this channel, you probably know what that reason is. It's abandoned. So, let's check it out. Hit the intro. So this is a pretty sleepy neighborhood, not the kind of place you'd expect to find a bar district like this. It's kind of on the edge of the city's downtown, before the urban core becomes more suburban. There are offices, a quaint old onsen, shops, and lots of houses. The bar area itself is located in a kind of hidden pocket between the train tracks and a busier neighborhood road. It's packed into just a tiny little area, but there's a lot to see. So without further ado, let's get exploring. Okay, so we're here in the first part of this area. There's a fairly busy road behind me here, and straight ahead are the train tracks, but right here is pretty quiet and isolated. So we've got all of these crazy, more or less abandoned little places. But this place is really interesting. All of these former little shops and stuff. The buildings are just totally falling away. You can see inside there it's just totally empty. There's like a little counter and stuff, but clearly no customers anymore. An old post box still stuffed full of papers. Look at that, there's still a bunch of stuff in there. Nobody ever opened it up after they left. Crisscrossing this whole area are these little tiny alleyways between the buildings. Look at the way it's like totally falling apart. The cover above the window. A lot of exposed wires sticking out and that kind of thing. There's just a big piece of sheet metal. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Oh wow, look, it's because this one doesn't have any glass. The glass is all gone. Oh, you can see pretty well in there. It's like a bar or like a one-counter restaurant, but clearly not a whole lot left of it. Now that's an old AC machine. Look at the plant, just grew like right in and back out of it. That's crazy. I don't know if that's like a branch or a root or what exactly that is. But that's an old machine right there. Here we have a very clearly abandoned little shop in here, like a former restaurant or something. Really dirty and on the floor there, but clearly a counter, either for, you know, food or drinks or whatnot. So actually right on the other side here of this wall is some train tracks and a train station. So I'm pretty sure this service, this building, this is a former service for like if you've driven your car somewhere and then had too much to drink or just drank at all, and then you can't drive back by yourself, you would hire this service, and so one person would drive you and your car back home, and then another person would follow, and they would drive you back home and then pick up the driver, and the two people would leave and leave you and your car at home. SDD, stop drunk driving. Very nice. Look at right here where just a big chunk of the wall is sloshed away, and there's, you can see the boards underneath. Here's some really old construction where they built literally with like, you know, mud and sticks, and you can tell how old this place is. There's a bunch of layers: the mud and stick layer, the wood layer, and then finally like an outer concrete layer. Makes you wonder how old this place is and how many times it was renovated. Some of these, the finishings on this is totally rusted. All these exposed wires, rusted metal, falling apart buildings. Here's a really old gas meter. The date on that, 01. I don't know exactly what that means. Talking about a year, that could be 2001. Crazy. Here a train just pushed through. The modern train line just right on the other side here. The bars on the windows totally rusted away. Just again another bar, restaurant, shop. A very old mailbox there. Here's actually, most of the buildings here are still standing, but this one is completely collapsed and caved in. You can really get a pretty good view of it. The awning, the cover is totally ripped and rusted. And if we get up in here, look at this place. It's just like a pile of rubble. That is crazy. So much stuff in here. Some old cans. All kinds of just ton of old stuff just sitting in here. That is crazy. Just what's still standing is just barely standing together. Just totally a pile of rubble. Oh, look, the door. The door is still standing. There's the doorknob there. Held together by some rope. Looks to be about one of the only things still standing is the door. Look at this alleyway, just totally caved in. That is crazy. There's what remains of a really old umbrella, I think think that's an umbrella. There's some really old stuff in here. This crazy tight little alleyway. The window's shattered and it's filled up with boxes. Look at this, it's like a little storage area or something over this shed type of thing here. But it looks like part of it's fallen away. And now it's just sitting completely open above this door here. There's another train coming through. But there's just this old chest and a bunch of old stuff, some chairs and a bunch of old stuff piled up in here. Look at how old this telephone pole, everything is just jammed in here, this little tiny, tight alleyway. Here is, as far as I'm aware, the only just open lot in this area. Who knows why this part was demolished when the rest of it was left standing here. I would have to assume sooner or later the rest of this will be demolished. We're fairly close, not quite in the city center, but I'd have to think this is some decent real estate here and it could be redeveloped. But it's cool for me. I like seeing it like this. I like seeing these old buildings still here, and especially this whole little kind of bar nightlife district still standing. A really tight alleyway here. Here's the backside of some of those buildings we were checking out. There's the backside of the collapsed building. That thing is falling apart. It's still standing a little more in the back, I guess. Here's another abandoned bar and or restaurant. The bar is just sitting there like there's tatami in this one in the back. I think that might be tatami right down here in the front too. More and more and more. That is a really cool little window right there. Circular with the bamboo kind of across it. Really, really cool. But yeah, crazy. Just a couple of streets really tightly packed in here. Bars, restaurants. I would have loved to see what this place was like when the shops and the restaurants and the bars were still open and there was still people about. But now it's sitting very, very quiet.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look into an abandoned Japanese bar street. I think the biggest feeling I came away with was how quiet this abandoned pocket was while life went on around it. All around were passing cars, passing trains, and even children playing, but the street itself was completely desolate and quiet, like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. I've never seen a place like this before, in such an urban, densely populated area. These abandoned places are fascinating and show us a window into what the world looks like when people are gone.